It's very quiet today. It's so quiet. I got nothing funny today. Oh, Puma!
Ain't nobody used to give a damn. Yeah, I had to go and make a different plan. Yeah, guess who didn't get included? Even though you made me better, yo, I strictly do it for the fam.
Welcome back to What Grinds Our Gears, the podcast, guys, where today, unfortunately, Aaron can't be with us. No! But don't worry, y'all, I'm still with one of the best big sisters I could have ever asked for, Sally.
Hi,
Where today we're starting something that might be a regular thing on the podcast frequency. Supernatural. And no, it's not the show. I mean like actual supernatural stuff.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how to start this whole thing because it's just a giant broad topic. But I think I want to just talk about, at least for right now, like how this whole shit began. About how supernatural stuff happened from where it began to where it is in the modern mindset.
Oh, I think that's a lot of it is religion. You know, because they have the stories of, I'm going to air quote stories, I'll probably find a bunch of people, of, and there's heaven and hell, there's angels, there's demons, you know. Vampires are kind of said to be, like, minions of Satan, you know. So I think a lot of that comes from religion. And it just brings off its own thing.
My favorite thing from the whole supernatural stuff is how in the olden days all the supernatural creatures had various different abilities, like zombies and vampires were among the same thing, of ghouls being the servants of vampires, to today where now it's just vampires are one thing and not related to anything involving zombies.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's because of, you know, media. That's because of books. That's, you know, because when Dracula was written, it set that apart because he was a functioning undead person. He wasn't like totally brain dead like a zombie, and he had all these powers. So it was like totally set apart.
And every lady wanted to jump his bone.
See, the Gary Oldman version I can understand, but I don't know about the. I don't know.
And then with werewolves, I don't remember there being all these whole things of just you use holy relics to kill them back in the day. It was just they transform in the moonlight, and the only way to kill them was either with a silver bullet stake or killing them in broad daylight after their transformation. But nowadays it's just, oh, they're not just werewolves, some of them can just be animal shifters.
Right? And then again, it's also media, because with, like, all the different books and movies and shows that come out with it, you know, it like, expands on that. So, like, with the originals, for example, I have, not just the originals, but with Underworld series, I have never heard of a hybrid before, of a vampire and a werewolf. So when they added that, you know, when you combine those two things, they take on all the same weaknesses and strengths, and that opens up a whole new lore. So media plays a huge part in how the supernatural theory grows.
But then there are the obscure stuff that a lot of people don't touch on, like Selkies, Dullahans, Will-O-Wisp. But they only just talk just like, oh, you mean like the fairy, the mermaid, and those little fireball things in Ireland.
I was really hoping that True Blood would actually, like, I love the books, I love the TV series, but I was hoping it would expand a little more onto the fairies, because it kind of just dropped it off, like, oh, Sookie's a fairy, there's fairies, and then it focused on vampires. So, like, they didn't go into it as much with fairies as I wish they would, because you don't see that too often, so they could have done a lot with it.
Which is always depressing to me, because there are various different types of fairies in fiction. Aside from the whole, let me just sprinkle this dust on you. It's
so
like
not Tinkerbell?
Sounds like a fucking crackhead.
Yeah.
Let me just sprinkle this on you real quick.
So not Tinkerbell.
I swear, Tinkerbell was like the original crackhead of Disney. Just
right.
They just sprinkle this crack on you so you can fly.
Oh my gosh.
I did not blow Peter Pan for this. Angel this for nothing.
Oh my goodness.
But I'm always irritated with just the oversaturation of the most popular stuff when there are so many variations of things in supernatural lore, because I'm always interested in the creepy, kooky, mysteriously spooky shit that comes up in everything. It's why I kind of spent most of my years not going to school and just reading up on stuff from demonology books. God, those were years wasted in a library.
No such thing as wasted time in a library. No such.
I know, but by the time I actually then went to school, I was just bored out of my mind. But that's beside the point.
Yeah.
Main point, though, is from all the stuff I could read up on, like the cherubims and all the sort of stuff, like how Dante illustrated the Inferno from Dante's Inferno, Paradiso, and all that sort of stuff. I'm just kind of like, from all the stuff that we can take from all sorts of stuff that come from legends, old texts, and all this stuff, we just now dumb it down to just the stupidest things.
Right.
Like, I know people love these things, like the originals, or Teen Wolf, and Lost Girl when it was on in Canada, and all this sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of just like, there's more to this than just the base element that you guys are using, and it's kind of upsetting me.
That's why I always prefer, like, if there's a book series, I read the book series first, because they can really go into it. That's where, like, with Vampire Diaries in particular, I like the show better than the books, because the show went on longer than the books. They actually went in very deep into, like, different kind of vampire mythology and lore, and, like, different kinds of vampires, so I thought that was really different. And with the originals, I kind of feel like they focus more on, like, the relationship drama than actual lore. So I still like the show, but there's not as much, like, new information there. Compared to, like, Vampire the Masquerade, that game series. It's, like, one of my favorite games of all time. But, in the game, when you become a vampire, you can pick 1 out of 8 classes to become, and it's like you get different ability, you can have a different look to yourself, you can be more deformed, you can be more blend in society. So, like, the world of darkness really opens up to, like, and they also have, like, a Werewolf Chronicles thing as well. So there's a lot of good stuff out there, it's just not as popular as the other stuff.
Yeah, while you also have a shitty apartment in a very dirty ass town.
That's so true.
Like Sally herself has seen me complain about how dirty the city looks in Vampire the Masquerade thousands of times. I keep looking, I'm like, God damn, this is filthy.
Can't handle it. At least your second apartment is nice.
Ish.
Play it right. If you just piss the guy off, you have the same crappy apartment, so. But yeah, like, World of Darkness is really good with digging into, like, different lores, and they'll throw in, like, different creatures. Like, they had I can't think of the name, but, the Japanese ghost boss that turned into the gigantic, like, monster with the 20 arms. I can't think of the name of it.
That also reminds me, Sally. Let me just see how much the modern media kind of does for Americans.
Okay.
Do you know about the Kappa yokai from Japan?
I've probably heard it if you explain it. I don't know the name, though. Like, explain it.
Kappa are basically flat-headed demons that kind of live underneath society, sometimes in waterways back in the olden days, sometimes now in the sewers in modern-day Japan, where if you're sleeping, they steal your soul through the soles of your feet.
Oh, okay. I've heard of that, then. I don't know the name, though, but I've heard a little bit.
And that's also kind of one of my big problems with how popular stuff now makes the most important stuff in supernaturalism kind of seem stupid.
Yeah. That's what I like about what's the name of the game? Dreadout, because all the ghosts in Dreadout are based off of Filipino. Yeah, like Filipino ghost stories.
Yep.
And I know it was so cool to like know about that stuff, because I wouldn't know if I didn't play that game.
I don't know, Stally. I guess I'm just kind of nitpicky because I don't know. It's one of those things where after studying all of your life on this sort of stuff, you just kind of like, what can you really say or do when you see bullshit happen to something that you really love? Because I didn't really have a problem with this sort of stuff until one faithful day in the year of 2007.
Oh god.
Everything started to go out the fucking window when one saga was then released to the general public.
Is it what I think it is?
Yes.
Is it Twilight?
Yes.
Okay. I feel like I'm the only person. I'm not a huge fan of Twilight. I don't think it's awful, but I'm not like a huge fan. I find some of it like interesting, like each vampire has unique ability, and you don't see that a lot. Like it's the same stuff.
Oh, the concept about how the vampires can work isn't the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is how they're executed.
Yeah.
Which is a terrible fucking waste of what you could do to revitalize something that's actually good in fiction.
That's where like the True Blood books are really good. And also Anne Rice has 2 new books out about Lestat, which are fantastic.
Thank you, Anne Rice.
Yeah, Anne Rice came back and she was like, ooh, Lestat book. And I'm like, need it.
That's because it's Lestat. Every lady wants Lestat.
Especially in Queen of the Damned. He would like rip his shirt off. I'm like, oh, I'm done. He's a rock star. He just wore like see-through shirts. I'm like, I'm good. I didn't like the Tom Cruise version. I don't know what it was. Like, I thought he was really sassy and funny, but he just wasn't attractive to me. And I'm like, when I think of Lestat, I think like, rock, paper, scissors, take off your clothes right now. And I didn't get that with Tom Cruise. So I'm like, I don't know. Hopefully when they do the TV, I think it's going to be a TV series. They're going to do the Anne Rice series. And so hopefully they cast a good Lestat. I'm seeing a lookout for that.
Everybody's on the lookout for Lestat.
Yep.
Man, there are just so many things that go into with the supernatural talk that I have no idea what branch to start on. There's like, I think 73 things with supernatural stuff that we can go into and still have a hard time going into everything.
Yeah. I think a fun one would be like personal like ghost stories or something. We have personal stories with that where our love for it started, and then like kind of like what we did the anime talk, like where it started and like what it branched out into.
That would indeed be a thing, Sally. That would indeed be a thing. Although I feel like we're missing one key component to do this right. I have no idea what it is.
I don't know.
Anyway, I guess to kind of overly simplify stuff, I could just talk about the number one thing that people like to talk about most involving supernatural stuff.
There you go.
Angels.
Oh, there you go.
Now, I'm gonna be upfront with everybody. I'm not Christian. I believe in no man-made religion, which involves Christianity, Judaism, Islamism, all that shit. So what I'm about to say, if you are offended, tough fucking titties.
Oh my gosh.
However, I will say this. From a religious but also supernatural standpoint, I have no big issue or qualms with anything involving the word angel. Because, in all honesty, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But before the atheists start jumping down my throat, hear me out on this. The concept of having messengers from a ethereal being makes more sense than having just making one guy and one woman in a garden that says, "Don't you touch nothing.
Right.
I'm gonna leave you two alone to frolic naked, but don't you touch nothing.
Don't do anything.
Especially don't touch my damn tree."
My tree.
Now, excuse me, I gotta make a unicorn.
Oh my God. That's how it went down.
That's how it went down. That's how we got Charlie the unicorn.
Oh my God.
But ethereal messengers make sense from an ethereal being because you need something that is both concrete but also something that's very logical, and angels fit the bill in many different degrees, from archangels, messenger angels, warrior angels, healing angels, and the ones that we see in modern day here now, just like the ones that guide you when you have a second chance at life. Whether that is something that exists or not is completely dependent on your whole spirituality preference.
Yeah.
But
Well,
we're...
yeah.
I'm sorry, Sally. I'm sorry.
Oh, not finished. I was gonna just...
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
I was gonna say with like, with Buddhism, because I'm a Buddhist, like, you know, like, yeah, there is that, like, there is no higher power. We don't believe in that. But, like, also there's something out there in the universe. So there is something. It's just not something we focus on. Because clearly there's, like, reincarnation, there's spiritual energy and stuff. But it's, like, not something that we focus on. We focus on, like, being in the here and now and doing what's best and good for people in the moment, not where we're gonna go afterwards. So, like, as a Buddhist, I can totally believe there's something out there. But, like, honestly, like, if something happens and I end up seeing, like, an angel, air quote angel, then hey, it's real. But I'm not gonna, like, worry about it, kind of thing.
Very true, but in the same regard as to how they supernaturally can work, here's where the bastardized thing comes into play from something I actually do like reading as like a whole big support thing from my favorite authors of Sherilyn Kenyon, who wrote a bunch of stuff like the Dream Hunters, Dark Hunters, Were Hunters, and the Chronicles of Nyx series.
Okay.
The concept of utilizing them as a driving force in a battle against demons and angels, along with werewolves and creatures of the night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the concept of using anything like Sephiroths as like the Deus Ex Machina, because it just feels so cheap, so boring as like a whole counterbalance to, we made the world's most amazingly powerful demon! Who could dare crush his power? We have a Sephiroth. God damn it! Does he have a long sword? No. What are you, fucking 12?
Sword that has nothing to do with, sorry, no, stream joke. This has nothing to do with Final Fantasy. Thanks, game.
But I don't know, that's just where my whole mindset is for the first part of what will probably be a several-week talk. I'm not a fan when it comes to the utilization of how angels have come in the modern sense, because it feels cheap. And I'm not saying this as like someone that believes in any sort of religion. I don't. I have like a whole different thing that I will eventually talk to you guys about on my own free time. But in all honesty, this whole thing is just, there are many different things you can do with an ethereal construct. I've done it in various different books that I've written. A lot of stuff I have to rewrite now because apparently I predicted that some stupid ass would try to block off America with a wall several years in advance.
Predicted it.
Like, I literally wrote down that World War III happened and then we had to take down the wall around America, in high school, and I was like, oh shit, I have to now cancel writing this.
I can see the future.
I have to now rewrite everything. Thank you, America. But I don't know, Sally. What's your whole thing on how angels are used in like old to new supernaturalism?
I didn't really get really interested in angels until like a friend of mine was like, watch Supernatural, and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll give it a shot. I didn't get into the show for one, because I wasn't a fan of it. But like, the whole concept was just so basic. There wasn't anything behind it. It wasn't like interesting to me. So I like got bored of the show, and like I was like, it was cool and they had the demons and stuff, but like when it was all about angels and demons, it got boring because they didn't really explain it very well. But like other than that, besides like, you know, my mom's a Christian, my grandma's a Christian, my mom's a Christian. All I heard of angels was like, oh, they're like messengers, they protect you, you know, that kind of stuff. So it was like that basic stuff you learn as a kid, but I didn't really question it growing up.
Oh, we had two different kind of things. I grew up around my grandpa saying that there were warrior angels from like these old stories and myths that were passed down in my family for generations. Where apparently there's this myth that goes around saying that angels are related to the birds of the elements, like the phoenix, the thunderbird, a water bird, all this sort of stuff, where they interact with them as warriors and protectors of humanity that literally safeguard against demons and sort of shit. So I grew up mostly around that, just like, wait, if we have all this stuff, why the fuck is this world all screwed up?
Right.
Every time I ask that question, just like, well, you see, little Kuma, it's because humans are stupid.
Humans are stupid.
And I'm just like, okay, I understand now. I understand life in general. It's all so clear to me now. But to just all of a sudden fast forward to today where I have a child that loves Supernatural, aka Sally's niece, it's kind of gotten to a point I'm just like, I'd rather take a cyanide pill and never see anything involving angels.
Yeah. I feel like they could have done really good with it, but like I said, it was so basic and they drove it into the ground, never really expanded on it. And then it just got boring.
The basic bitches.
Yep.
Oh man. There's too much to go into for all this sort of stuff, but I have no idea where to go in next for next week.
We'll have to plan it out.
Man, this is the first time we're gonna have an ending, and I'm kind of scared, Sally.
We're gonna have an ending.
But that's the thing, we have no ending, so it's like, how do we...
Air quote end it?
I don't know what to do!
Okay. We'll end it with the basic one. We'll air quote end it with the most basic question ever. If you could be a supernatural creature, what would you be? I'd obviously be a vampire. What would you be?
Well, let's see. If it were up to me, I would...
Step into the spotlight.